This is the Innovative Percussion CP-1R Black Core Pad. I noticed that when people shop for this practice pad, a lot of the questions that get asked are, is it the same as the Innovator V3? Yes, but also no. But kind of yes. Started by two college percussion majors, Innovative Percussion has been making quality sticks and mallets for a long time. They began making their own mallets because they didn't find anything out there in the market that suited their needs. So they started making mallets, which is awesome. I love the entrepreneurship. And I've always had an admiration for the company because they felt grassroots to me. They weren't one of the big boys as far as drumsticks and mallets goes. They're not Vic Firth, they're not ProMark. I remember first using them and first hearing about them in 2001 when I first showed up to college as a young percussion major. And it was kind of shocking to me that I had made it all the way to college without ever having heard of them. But since then, I would argue that they've become one of the major top stick brands, stick and mallet brands in the market today. The quality is top notch. I have never had a completely terrible experience with Innovative Percussion. Over the years, they've started creating more and more products, and they've gotten more and more signature artists, which makes them even stronger in the percussion arena, in the percussion marketplace, zone, as it were, percussion space. Anyway, I like that they're a smaller kind of underdog company. And I think they make great products, especially their drumsticks, and their mallets are fantastic as well. Now, what's going on with this practice pad? Well, not long ago, I did a review of my Innovator V3 percussion pad. And when this Innovative pad came in the mail, I was excited. I opened the box, I started checking it out, and I was looking at it. And I remember when I did the Innovator pad, I remember seeing a stamp on the edge of the rim, like something that was kind of molded into the plastic, and it was a US patent number, which ironically, I remember, and I don't think I said anything about this in the other video, link up here by the way. Off-World has quite a few trademarks and at least one patent. When I saw that on the pad, I was like, oh, that makes sense, they've patented this pad or whatever. Cut to a couple days later when I received the Innovative Percussion pad in the mail, and I pull it out of the box and I'm looking at it. I'd never seen one up close in person. I've just seen them on videos. And I'm looking at it and I'm checking it out and I'm going, wow, this is really, really similar to the Off-World pad. And as I look at the rim on this Innovative pad, I notice a patent number. It's smaller, but I noticed it and I started looking at it and I was like, I wonder. And so I pulled out my Innovator pad and sure enough, those patent numbers are exactly the same. You can Google patents, by the way. When you look up this patent number, it is owned by Off-World Percussion. The name of this patent, according to the Google search, is Practice Drum Pad Assembly and Rim Therefore. The present invention may be embodied as a rim for a drum pad assembly, comprises a rim member defining an inner portion, a rim portion, an outer portion, a transition portion, and an end portion. The inner portion is connected to the rim portion, straight member, and first and second surface plate. A substrate member defines a first sub. At the very least, they have licensed the rim, right? If they've licensed anything, it's at least the rim, which honestly is a brilliant move for both those companies. I admire both of these companies. I love the entrepreneurial spirit. And I like to think that maybe they're helping each other out in some way. Off-World came up with a great design and they were quick to patent it. And somebody innovative was like, hey, that's a really great design. Or Off-World reached out and was like, hey, do you like our design? Do you want to use it and make a pad? We'll let you license it. Either way, Off-World is making money every time you buy one of these Innovative pads, which is fantastic for Off-World because it keeps them going. It's great for Innovative too because they get a solid product. So this Innovative Percussion pad, or IP, I'll probably say IP throughout the rest of the video just because that's what I've said, IP, and they go by IP. Everybody knows them as IP. You should get on board, call them IP. Anywho, the IP pad I actually got mine on Amazon for $68.99. You can find other deals, and I'm kind of kicking myself. I probably overpaid for it. But then again, I had an Amazon gift card, so I had to use that. It's 11.5 inches in diameter. It's about 1.25 inches or so thick. Weighs roughly 3 pounds. Is quite packable. It fits very well into a backpack. It's got a polymer playing surface. It's got the injection molded plastic rim. The bottom is a mouse pad, like a bare mouse pad material. I don't know what's at the core of this thing. It could be MDF, it could be plywood, it could be almost anything in there. Where is it made? Who knows? We don't know. It could be made in Nashville. It could be made in China. I don't know. I could find little to no information on where it's actually made. Now, obviously, if they're sourcing some of their stuff from some kind of patent license deal with Offworld, somebody's making these rims for these two companies. But at least with Offworld, we know without a doubt, because you can see it all over their Instagram, that they're assembling those pads in Washington, in Vancouver, Washington. So, Innovative? No idea. I don't know where the thing is assembled. It could be anywhere. I hope that it's in Nashville. I think that would be awesome if they were making, their pads. I know that they do a lot of their, I think if not all of their sticks and mallets in Nashville or somewhere around that part, those parts. Let's hop into the office and let's use the old Vic Firth Ralph. I'm just kidding. I can't do that. I gotta use the old FSPRs. It's Innovative Percussion. I can't use, I guess I could use a Vic Firth on an IP. All right, I've decided that I'm not gonna play with any other kind of stick. This is geared towards marching percussion. It doesn't make sense for me to use any other kind of stick on it. You can, and it'll sound relatively the same. You're gonna get a ton of bounce, probably more than you need or want. It'll be a good general all-purpose pad. You certainly won't buy this and go, oh man, I can't practice my surround pieces. Yes, you can practice all kinds of stuff with this thing, but its specific design is for marching percussion, so I'm only gonna use these sticks. You know the drill. I'm gonna play loud, I'm gonna play medium, I'm gonna play some notes, play at the edge, play halfway in between, if that matters so much. Try to get some rim shots. I'm really curious to see if this pad struggles with the same thing that all the other rimmed pads that I've tried so far have. I want to know if I can actually hear the difference between a shot and a miss. So we'll see. There's loud, here's medium, and quiet. Ooh. Overall, I think it feels really good. It sounds good. Not quite as articulate as this guy, but I think the dark matter side of this V3 is a little less articulate than this thing, even though they're comparable. They feel very close to the same. In fact, let's see. Yeah, the feel is pretty much the same. I just think that the IP is a little more articulate. It's cheaper than the Invader V3. So if you want like a middle ground, you can get this guy. I haven't tried the other Offworld, the Outlander. I haven't tried the Outlander. Is that what it's called? Outlander. I would imagine that the Offworld Outlander sounds and feels very similar to this, just because of the size. And because their dark matter is seemingly very similar to this. It really only feels different in texture. Yeah, the dark matter is a little stickier. This stuff is a little more glossy. I'm not gonna play the backside because the backside is just standard, like, mouse pad style material. You can play on it, but I don't usually recommend playing on those because you'll wear it out. All right, let's try to get some shots with this thing. I'm gonna play 4 intentional misses, and then I'm gonna play as many as I can regular shots. Here we go. Yeah, you can tell there is a little bit of a crack, a little bit more of a crack when you nail a shot than there is when you hit a rim. It's a very slight difference, but if you're listening, you can detect it. The feel of it, though, I feel like the rim is closer to the head than it would be on an actual drum. And in fact, when I look at the Invader V3, the rim is a lot higher off the head than this. So your angle, your feel for where those shots are going to be, you're going to have to fine tune your hands. But honestly, that's pretty standard. That's par for the course for any drummer. I mean, if you crank down on that head, the rim's going to be a lot lower. If you don't crank it down so much, the rim will be a lot higher. You can tune yourself relatively quickly. Yeah, I mean, the shots are okay. I mean, they're there, but it's not as obvious. And that's been my recurring beef with all these rimmed pads. The rim is great to have. You know, you got to play rimmy stuff. That's there. You can do it. But the difference between a shot and a miss is so minute. And I'm on the quest for finding a pad that will make it obvious. I miss and then I nail a shot. There's a huge difference on a drum, and I really want there to be a huge difference on a pad. Maybe it's just not possible. Maybe I'm asking for like a unicorn or something, but I don't know. Somebody surprised me. Maybe if there's a pad out there that you know without a doubt there's a difference between a rim, a miss, and an actual shot, please let me know. Put a comment. Tell me what that product is. I'll see if I can get my hands on one, and maybe we'll find that unicorn that I've been looking for. Until then, let's take this thing off the stand, put it on my lap, and see if there's a huge difference in feel and sound. Here we go. I will say it's less unwieldy as the Invader. The Invader is just a big beefy thing, right? Like that's pretty big. This little guy is great. I like it. Yeah, I feel like the shots funnily enough, oddly enough, I feel like the shots are slightly more obvious on my lap, which is strange. Maybe it's because the pad has it's more free to move. Here's the backside. All right, fine, you talked me into it. Let's see what it sounds like. Yeah, predictable. It doesn't feel good. It feels like a mouse pad. You're gonna tear through it if you do it too often. I don't recommend playing on the bottom of this thing. Let's get a couple of more sounds out of this. Yeah, because it's so small, it'll wobble on you, right? All right, let's see what it sounds like on the desk. Coffee's gone. That's all I get. Here we go. Yeah, it feels a little bouncier. Yeah, I think it does. It feels a slightly little bit bouncier. And if I remember correctly, it was the same situation with the Invader. I think the Invader V3. It's a little bit more bouncy, it feels like. Probably has something to do with the mass of the table combining with the practice pad. I don't mind it. It feels good. So from stand to lap to tabletop, it's fairly consistent. You're not going to notice a huge difference, but there are slight differences. I really like how portable this practice pad is, and I think that's the advantage of this one. It's portable. I think that's really what you're going for here. You can literally flop the thing anywhere. You can put it on a stand, although some stands might be too big. They may not go small enough. The basket on your snare stand may not go small enough, in which case you could just plop this on a drum or another practice pad that does fit your stand. Let's try to get some rim shots. Yeah, I think that the difference between a rim shot and a missed and just hitting the rim is just as different as it was when it was on my lap as it was when it was in the stand, right? Like it's noticeable, but not like extremely painfully obvious. And I don't know if we're ever going to get that on an actual practice pad, but so far this and the Invader are, yeah, they're approaching. They're approaching what I'm looking for. But yeah, it works, right? I don't know if you could see it in the other camera. Was it jumping on me? Yeah, it doesn't really jump all that much. I mean, just a tiny amount. Just a tiny amount, not that bad. Articulation-wise, it's about the same, right? Like it's kind of the same articulation. Maybe a little less articulate now that I'm thinking about it. Honestly, I think I prefer it either on a stand or on my lap, but I think that's my general preference for any pad. I like it better on a stand, a little bit less in my lap, and a little bit less on a tabletop. But, I mean, it is what it is. When you're out and you're playing with your friends or you're practicing, you're going to put the thing on whatever you can put it on. And if that just has to be your lap, then it'll be on your lap. If you have access to a stand, you'll be able to use a stand. If you have to use a table or the floor even, then you can do that too. Do I recommend this pad? Yeah, I do. For different reasons than I would, let's say, a Beetle Percussion, the 13-inch original Beetle pad, or the Invader V3, or the ProLogix even. I think actually, I would put this as more of a competitor. Now, hear me out. I would put this as more of a competitor to the ProLogix pad that I have, the Vortex pad, only because they feel different, they sound different, but they both kind of live in the same realm of packability, right? The Vortex is a little bit bigger. This one's only 11.5 inches. I don't remember off the top of my head how big the Vortex is, but weight-wise and thickness-wise, they're comparable. So for people on the go, you're looking at a Vortex or you're looking at something like this. The V3, the Invader V3, yeah, you can pack it in a backpack, but it's heavy and it takes up a lot of space. So if I'm gonna be traveling a lot, I wanna use something smaller. So at $50-ish, depending on where you get this thing, do I think it's a good buy? Yeah, I do, because if you're gonna get something like, let's say, Real Feel that usually retails somewhere around $35 to $40, I think you'd be better off just saving your money for like another month or two and getting this. Or you could probably try out the Outlander by Offworld, because I'm willing to bet that it's almost the same in a lot of ways. The best thing about the Outlander, though, is that you get a legitimate extra side, right? Like this one is just the mouse pad side. The Outlander does have a second surface on the bottom that you're supposed to actually play on. It's meant to be played on. So I think that's the only advantage that the Outlander has. Again, I don't have an Outlander with me. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm willing to bet that would be the advantage of the Outlander. I'm willing to also bet that they would feel the same and similar and sound very similar. So this is a great offering into the pad world. There's a lot of junk pads out there. All you got to do is just hop on Amazon and you can see all the weird off-brand gum rubber pads out there. I see them all the time. My students bring them in because their parents buy them practice pads and they don't know what they're doing. So, and you try to guide them, but they try to find something as cheap as possible, which makes sense because it's a beginner and, you know, maybe they don't want to spend a whole lot of money. I get it. I think that's it. If you like this video, go ahead and play an eighth note on the like button. If you don't like this video and you think that I'm dumb, please play a diddle on the dislike button. Don't forget to subscribe. That's going to help me. It's going to help you. It'll help other drummers find this channel and others like it. And it'll make a nice little community, not just on the creator side, but on the audience side. I enjoy doing this, and I hope that I get to keep doing it more. So please hit the like and the subscribe and all the things, and that'll help me, it'll help you, it'll help everybody. Bell icon, you can do that. I'm not gonna force you, but you know, it's your decision. I think that's it. Bye.